Hi guys, my name's Caleb Joslin, and this is my presentation for my content for the COM signature assignment. The topic I chose to write a news article about was group communication in relation to a specific career field. The career field I chose was teaching because that's a career path I'm considering taking in my life. And I also chose group communication because in a group communication, I'm usually kind of a shyer, quiet person. I don't talk a whole lot. So I figured this would help me learn a few things I can apply to real life. Some things I did end up learning from writing this article, was processes a teacher can go through to gain respect from their students and establish leadership. I also learned that nonverbal techniques can greatly influence how engaged students are and just the importance they are in, sending a message to your students about the value of what you're actually saying. I also learned how to be more objective with my writing. I learned how to cite sources better and write in a more objective third-person point of view. So jumping right into a reading of my content, I'm going to jump right into the body paragraph about engaging students. So engaging students. One not-so-secretive piece of information is that students commonly find school dull and boring. Teachers are already at a disadvantage. Early start times often leave students dreary and disengaged. So what tools can teachers use to turn the tables and grasp students' attention? Classroom Communication Tips, an article published by Brown University's Harriet W. Sheridan Center for Teaching and Learning, suggests that teachers use a different variety of verbal and nonverbal techniques to keep students engaged. Speaking in a monotone voice is something teachers often do without realizing, but is something that can be detrimental to a student's attention span. Brown University's Harriet W. Sheridan Center for Teaching and Learning offers that, quote, varying the speed and tone of your voice to keep your voice interesting to listen to, and, quote, pausing to gain attention, emphasize transitions in material, and allowing students the opportunity to digest the information will help teachers be much more interesting and deliberate with their messages. Nonverbal messages, while more subtle, can influence the mood of a classroom and send a message to students about the value of the information the teacher is trying to deliver. Quote, using movement to convey energy and enthusiasm, but avoid excessive gesturing and distracting clothing because they can divert your attention from your message. And, quote, projecting excitement and energy to capture your audience's attention are useful nonverbal tips suggested by Brown University. When communicating with students, it is important to remember that different students do learn in different ways. Using media is a great way to keep students interested and engaged, as well as providing a visual way for students to digest information. Brown University's Harriet W. Sheridan Center for Teaching and Learning explains that, quote, media can help to explain complex ideas. Use it to enhance, not distract from your message. They then go on to give some helpful examples of media that a teacher could apply in their classroom to boost student engagement. Chalk/dry erase boards, handouts, videos, and even bringing examples of the real world, that would be things like artifacts, technologies, science experiments, etc., into the classroom are all great ways to make class feel more exciting. So I also think another important thing for teachers is collecting feedback. So that is the next paragraph I'd like to write, or the next section I would like to read here. Collecting feedback. Collecting feedback is a necessary piece of communication that slips by many teachers. In addition to helping a teacher know the general feeling of a classroom, as well as what they can improve on, collecting feedback can also give a classroom a sense of togetherness, as the students know that their opinion matters and that their voices are being heard. Checking for understanding is a more routine form of collecting feedback that teachers can undertake to get an idea of how students are processing a specific lesson. The Ministry of Education tells us the proper way to check for understanding in their article, Effective Communication Tips for the Classroom. Quote, a teacher should always check for understanding. The simple question, do you understand, will not result in much information, as most students will either nod passively or sit passively. Students can write down one sentence that summarizes what they think the lesson or lecture was about, or they can write a question about the lesson. While checking for understanding is important to ensure that students are keeping up with the lesson plan, it is also important that students feel safe and comfortable in the classroom. One way to do this, according to Brown University's Harriet W. Sheridan Center for Teaching, is to, quote, observe students' body language. Many teachers also find helpful to collect written feedback. Things like online surveys can help reveal any questions or concerns students may be having and provide suggestions for future classes. So that was my COM signature assignment presentation. Hope you guys all have a great holiday.